Live. Hey, we're on the air. This is
Right.
Cameron
It even
Marceau.
says live
It
on the
it
top
says
right of my
live.
screen.
That's right. That's right.
It
So
does.
we are live. So you can get yourself in trouble now, Joel.
Okay.
This is Cameron Marceau doing another MyFriendsAreAwesome.com with Sridhar Yadavali,
Hello.
and we are lucky enough to be talking to our friend Joel Muchmore across the country in San Francisco.
Cheers. Good to see you.
Or I think he's frozen now.
Is he frozen?
He's frozen.
To be exact,
What?
I can basically hear you. There's a little bit of you've gotten a little electronic. There's a little bit of a telephoning effect on your voices. I can still basically understand you.
Right.
Okay.
And it's basically internet fuzz. I think that's the
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. But
So Joel, what have you been up to?
we haven't seen each other in 20 years or so. So
Yeah.
how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. About a year ago, I was at my doctor, and my doctor said he talked about my birth date, about what I was doing, and he said, "Well, welcome to middle age." And I said, "Holy shit! If I'm middle aged, that must mean that all of you guys are middle aged too." Apparently, that happened to everybody. Trace,
Yeah.
it happened to you?
About the same time too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably so. Did
It's-
it come as a shocker to you to find yourself middle aged?
No. No, well, a little bit. I was surprised I survived this long, given my history. And given our history together as friends. I mean, I didn't expect to survive graduation, but and to have progressed this far, now I'm in it to win it. You know, I'm quite the opposite. I'm actually embracing middle age for what it is, and it's the next phase. It's the okay, now we can pare down all that the excesses of youth and really just get to the crux of the biscuit and really get to the real fun of it all.
You keep saying crux of the biscuit.
It is. I say the crux of the biscuit.
What the fuck is a biscuit crux?
Ah.
Oh, Shri, will you allow me to answer that question?
Please, Joel. It's your party, my friend.
Well, I mean, it's that is one of my best phrases too, and we undoubtedly got it from the same place. It's
Exactly.
the final song on Frank Zappa's Apostrophe. It's called Stinkfoot. He enters into Zappa, that is, into kind of a platonic dialogue with a dog called Fido, F-I-D-O, but definitely riffing on Plato's Fido, and they talk about existence. And one of the final questions is what the crux of the biscuit is, and the crux of the biscuit is, of course, Shri?
The apostrophe.
Shri? The apostrophe.
Yeah.
That's
The
right.
apostrophe, of course, indicating omission, and so it becomes kind of its own nothingness. Frank Zappa a zeroing in on nothingness as meaning, in that way that only Frank Zappa can do.
Okay. So it actually is a thing. I thought it was just a missaid idiom.
No, it's a very specific idiom, but it gets the idea of on I guess a more philosophical level, it gets the idea of the raison d'etre of why Zappa did things, but also how we see the world. I guess. Joel, maybe you can you phrase it better than I can, but I see it. The crux of the biscuit to me is sort of the distilled essence of the point, which is pointless, I guess.
Well, right. I mean, the crux of the biscuit is essentially the bottom lining of something. If you were to distill it to its one-line essence, you would call it the crux of the biscuit. But of course, Zappa then denotes nothingness by calling the crux of the biscuit the apostrophe, which zeroes itself back around again to the nothingness that, by the way, apostrophe starts off with. So if you recall, Schroeder, the beginning of the album starts off with Don't Eat the Yellow Snow,
That's
and
right.
the whole thing starts off with an extended lists of zeros. It was 40 degrees below zero, and it kind of goes on with a bunch of rhymes all riffing on the O, the nothingness, which then he pulls back around to the omission of apostrophe, and then finally at the end with the nothingness, the crux of the biscuit goes back to the omission that is always designated by the apostrophe.
Absolutely, and in part, I could on a more historical level, I guess, I could see why he put apostrophe Overnight Sensation together. They were released around the same time. It was an easier way to release the albums, but on some level, I think just for the poetry of the way he organized apostrophe by itself, I'm sad that that got bundled in with Overnight Sensation. You know, I kind of think it was its own very small album, but nonetheless perfectly reasonable album without throwing in Overnight Sensation at the end of it.
Well, I agree, but that was done back when they were trying to coax people into buying CDs. All right, so that is my friend Schroeder Yedavali.
Hello.
He's wearing on. Can you?
Hi, my name's Anna.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Can you show? What's his name again? Chubby. These guys have gotten birds, and they have started what they call Bluebird Industries.
Oh wow!
And you can't see it right there.
Hello.
And this is Owen. Owen, that is my friend.
I remember.
He's wearing a fez.
Yeah.
Hello. This is a fez. This is a fez that I got. My parents got a cousin of mine got it for me from Marrakesh when he went to visit, and so I got this one. And I recently acquired another one that I haven't possessed yet. It's still in transit, but it's coming. So I'll have it.
So you're telling me not only is it a fez, it is a fez with bona fide papers, a fez with a bona fide pedigree.
Every fez that I own has a history. The first the first fez that I own is the red fez, which my parents got when they went to Egypt. My parents, when they go traveling, they always go, Sri, what do you want from wherever they're going? And 99% of the time I say, what do I need? I don't want a T-shirt. I don't need anything. So don't worry about me. And they usually forget about it, because I said so. But they went to Egypt, one of the places to go before you die sort of thing. And I said, well, if you're going to go to Egypt and you're going to stop in Tunisia, I need a fez. And they looked at me funny, but since I've never asked them for anything when they go traveling, they immediately found a red fez, which is not this one. This one came from my wife's family, actually my brother-in-law, who also went to Turkey and got this from Turkey, not Marrakesh, from Turkey. Istanbul.
That is really complicated.
It is kind of complicated, but you can't really get a good fez anymore. I mean, you just can't go to a hat store and get one. They really have to find them, Owen, and you have to find them with.
No, I don't think you've been able to do that for at least like 100 years.
Yes, but yet here I stand, fez on hat, on my head, and obviously I found one, so I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Well, but you had to go outside the contiguous United States.
I had to go on the black market for mine. I had to go through to get my fez. I also own a bowler, a pork pie hat, and
I've never heard of that.
oh well, hold on a moment. Let me show you.
Look at your kitty bowler.
Go.
Not the bowler. This is a pork pie hat. A pork pie hat looks something like this. Ooh, part of the bongo, or the conga. A pork pie hat looks something like that. And this is very common. You'll be able to see this on the street, even in San Francisco. You can see. This is my.
Wait, we're waiting for the delay. Delay's catching up.
This is my summer hat. I don't wear it during the winter time. My bowler's upstairs. I should wear it. And I also have a hat that makes me look like Batman. So this is my summer hat. But this is what I wear for special occasions.
And when we talk to people in Mexico, you wear a sombrero.
And when I talk to people in Mexico, I wear a sombrero. That's correct. I am.
Oh, Zozo wanted to show you her bowler.
Oh, that is just. That is absolutely the most beautiful hat I've seen in a long time. That's very attractive on you, young lady. Well played. Is that a little pink flower up there? Is that
If you move in, you can see it's a kitty bowler.
Oh, very.
Yes.
Oh, the nose and the whiskers. Very stylish. Yeah. Nice.
Speaking of lots and lots and lots of hats,
yes,
I've got a Spanish hat.
A Spanish hat from Spain.
Yeah.
Or
no. It's a cheesy thing off. It was a cheesy thing that I got online.
Well, tell him what you're going to be for Halloween.
Oh.
I'm going to be a plague doctor.
A plague?
Wait.
We gotta go get a comic.
With the big nose mask and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Oh, we gotta show her the comic.
I'm sorry.
Yes, these guys they drew a comic about the plague doctor. What you want to see? And it was a fantastic comic. It had a plague doctor traveling through disease-ridden 15th century Europe, and then comes across a cat, and they turn it into the plague cat doctor, and the two of them continued rummaging through, again, disease-ridden Europe, vanquishing demons, be they real or be they imagined. It's not clear at this point right now. This
They're
comic
real.
is still.
Chapter 1.
So there's chapter 1.
Very
No,
nice.
that says book 1.
Oh, book 1.
And inside starts chapter 1. Kind of hard to see. That's chapter 1.
Is that right there? Can you see the plague doctor wandering through disease-ridden Europe?
Yes.
Right. Good. And now it's where it's good. And
Now this is chapter 2.
Of book 2 with the plague doctor and the
Chapter 2.
Owen, does your costume emulate the drawing that you've created? In other words, are you matching that nose and that hat?
You know.
So you're trying your best.
You know, basically, the highest quality plague doctor mask you could get that's not $100. Yeah.
Okay, understood. You did what you could with what you got, and that's an admirable costume design, if I may say so.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Wait, that's chapter 2. And this is part of chapter 2 when he finds the cat. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You got it.
It's really long.
Yeah, you don't need to necessarily follow all the ins and outs, but what you see is the plague doctor becoming smitten by the plague cat, and then making his own costume.
And it's the obvious trend of the story is they are smitten with each other.
Oh, I can't find chapter 3.
Now, is it? May I? A curious question for the both children. Is one is the artist and one is the story writer, or are you both contributing equally to story as well as art?
There's no writing. There are no words. You're just able to follow it with the pictures. They're pretty clear.
But it still has a story, even if there's no words.
That's right.
I draw the cat, and Owen draws the plague doctor and the demons and everything else. Basically, the only thing that I draw is whatever I think would be good for the story or for the cats or anything. But usually he does most other things. But if he doesn't know how to draw something other than Plague Kitty, then I do it.
Okay, so effectively.
Like a sewing machine.
So effectively, both story and artistry are collaborative effort.
Right. So, like, for example, when you guys decided that he would go inside the bubble, was that an idea that you both worked on?
Let's get that chapter. That's him.
Let's get that chapter.
Here we go.
He was the plague doctor was blowing a bubble, and he got inside the bubble.
Oh, wait, here, wait.
Okay.
You gotta see this first.
Wait. So basically, they go around killing demons, because demons are
in this imaginary
In this imaginary world, demons are real.
And
in my world, demons are pretty damn real too. So.
And demons are basically like the illnesses that plague doctors would try to kill.
Mm-hmm. My right now is Costello Bombfeed, 1993. So. But absolutely fantastic work for the both of you. That is inspiring. I have to think about now what I want to be for Halloween, and now the cat has inspired me.
Sorry, this.
No, I'm thinking I haven't figured out a costume for myself yet, and now you've presented me with the opportunity of perhaps, if I may borrow your idea, take the cat as the plague cat as a possible costume for myself.
The plague cat.
That would be fun. That's actually what I'm doing too.
Yeah, we would be unlikely to run into you guys at a party.
Okay, well, I just have to ask permission because I'm not.
It's whenever you do this over the internet, it kind of comes in and out.
Understood. We have to actually talk a little slower. The internet.
Oh, the Plague Doctor precedes copyright. It's in the public domain.
Okay, so. You are so lucky that your father.
Well, so Shri, what are your children going to be for Halloween? You have twins, correct?
I do have twin boys, and they are still on the fence as to what they want to be. This year, unfortunately, we're not going to be at home for Halloween. We'll be visiting family in Ohio because that Saturday the 1st, my cousin has an engagement party. It's a big family affair when it comes to Indian families. So, and it's.
Do they celebrate Halloween in Ohio?
Yeah, it's a fair question. I've been told, since it's Columbus and it's close to the campus, that there's enough diversity there that indeed, yes, there is a Halloween-y feel. Thankfully, had we been somewhere outside, like in I don't know, in orange face country, then everyone would look like the Speaker of the House or something.
What if you'd been in China? Something like that, maybe?
Chinese, they don't, and Ohio might not in some counties, but generally speaking, Columbus is good for Halloween. The boys have not decided, and we're coming up with last-minute ideas that we're thinking about becoming minions, all three of us.
Well, Owen got a costume that was like a Reaper costume.
Oh wow!
It was like
it was just all black with eyes that would glow.
We'll send you a picture sometime.
It's really cool. So maybe it could be something like that or something.
That's
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because my sons have all black shirts and pants and things, and they like wielding sharp weapons. So that might not be a bad idea.
Maybe you could just make a wooden scythe.
Oh, that would be cool, wooden scythe. So Anna, not Schroeder, but Cameron, who is the other guy who's been coming up. You have 2 daughters, correct?
I do.
And how old are they?
Well, October birthdays are big in our house. Actually, tomorrow is my oldest daughter's birthday.
Yay!
We're looking at 6 and 11.
Dang.
11 are wonderful.
Do 11-year-olds still celebrate Halloween?
Yes. But it's starting to wane. She's 11 going on 18, I think.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like kids have gotten older a lot faster now.
Yeah, true.
Like now there's the drama in 5th grade is already pretty intense. And I don't remember that kind of drama back when I was in 5th grade.
It might have been you were sheltered from it as a boy.
Yay. Now our lives are all happy.
Because you're a boy.
Yes.
I do admit, my son's
That was a joke, by the way.
my sons just moved. We moved our sons to a new school, and they're getting the growing pains of meeting friends and having that awkwardness. But also, the school's a little bit more academically competitive, I guess, is the turn of phrase. That the level of the standard of the population in the school is much higher than the previous one. So they're having that itch of I don't want to say competition, but just trying to keep up with the academic load. And they are having teenage-ish issues with this whole thing. You know, it's an interesting thing. Oh yeah, I love that.
And by teenage issues, you mean just as far as
I'll go get mine.
they have to show you their dollar bills. By teenage issues, you mean popularity things?
It seems that popularity is a thing at this new school.
Oh gosh.
You know, or just negotiating around. Most of the kids have been there 4 years, or if not longer, at the school. So being the new kids, just adapting to how children conduct themselves. It's not the same as their old school where they were the BMOC. They were the smartest in their class. You know, and they were well known, and faculty, you know, they owned the joint. Now they're in a place where there are lots of different kids who feel that this is their place, and these two are the newbies, and it is kind of Lord of the Flies in some rights. You know, they're negotiating themselves pretty well, but I think it's distracting them from
Academics?
catching up with their academics. It's not that they're doing badly. It's just that comparatively they're not as they're having struggles that they need to work themselves out of. I wrote off the first term as just baseline, get where you need to be, you know.
Mom's home.
Hi, is it a good time to say howdy?
Oh, howdy, partner.
Hi, guys.
Debbie Glass, look at ya.
Oh, she's my best chum in the world.
Hi, Cameron. Hey, Sheree, I should have brought my best headwear.
Oh,
I didn't know it was a hat party.
It was.
you know what?
It's always a hat party when Sheree's involved.
Hopefully this dollar bill that I put.
Next hats back into fashion.
All right. Chaos.
Definitely.
So what are you guys talking
I'm
about?
not sure if you're doing a good job.
Right now, comic books, it looks like.
Yeah, and plague doctors.
Of course.
Right, we went over the Plague Doctor.
I can breathe. Okay.
And then we were just talking about Shree's kids in school. They just changed. You know, Shree has twins.
Yes.
And they just changed to a more academically challenging school where they are not necessarily by and above the smartest children there, and they're coming to grips with that.
Uh-huh.
And they're doing it in a very adult manner. In other words, they're taking the challenge to heart, but they're also processing it in a far less childish way. They're very serious about, surprisingly so, very didactic and very serious, and they're very cognitive about how they're pursuing getting past their little, getting past their growing pains at new places. Really quite fascinating.
What age is Shree?
9 years old, both children.
Oh, just like you, Ellen.
Yay!
July of 2005. So
It was a good time.
it was a good time. Well, 9 months earlier, obviously, was a little bit of a better time, but yes.
I have no memory. I think I was drunk.
I mean, odds are.
Why is that funny?
I have no idea, Ellen.
So I have to ask, why San Francisco? How did you end up over on the West Coast?
Way to cue it back.
All right, so
Here, come with me.
All right.
All right.
See you later.
they'll be back.
I'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back, right. I don't know if you guys have watched Terminator with your children yet. It was a highlight of our was watching Terminator. Measured only by watching Road Warrior, which was a highlight.
We just finished.
We came to California. Let's see. I graduated from Knox, and then I went to go live in the Madison house. And the Madison house was with Doug and Ben and Brian McKeough and Eric Harnish, of course, and I believe one more person who I can't remember right now. And we fucked around in the Madison house for a year, of which I absolutely hated it. I loved living with those guys, but I hated being aimless, and I hated not having any money, and I hated not having a job. Yes, Owen?
I will leave you guys here talking. I just want to show you one awesome thing I got yesterday.
Oh!
Oh, wow.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, we're a little closer just so you can be sure.
It's Sugar Skull glasses.
Sugar
Oh my gosh, that's
skull
awesome.
glasses. Can you take those out in the rain? Because that will probably just melt on your face or something.
No,
Are they made of sugar?
no, they're not. They're plastic. They're just. You can look up Sugar Skull and find some images or something.
I should, because my immediate reaction is, wait, the whole thing is made of sugar. That can't be very functional.
Now, of course, there are actual molds they would use to pack the sugar in tight and leave it overnight.
Right.
And actually shape and harden. And you could decorate it with frosting and stuff.
Yeah, we didn't make sugar skulls this year, but we've made them in years past.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
So they're kind of clean in our family.
But that's a sugar skull, but not a sugar skull because that's made of plastic.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks like a sugar skull.
In the style of sugar skull.
There we go. Okay, now I'm in. I got it. Well, thank you for showing us that. That could be part of my costume as well. A fez-wearing sugar skull.
Actual size sugar skull.
That sounds awesome.
Thank you. You inspired me, son. Excellent work.
See you later.
Bye now. You were saying about
So I was in the Madison house, and I was working in record stores, which I thought would be super fun, and it turns out I hated it. I hated the disenfranchisement that came with having no money and no power and not ever being able to make rent or be able to buy anything, to do anything. It drove me crazy. So I switched from music stores and started working at temp jobs, which are temp jobs, and I took that money and I drove down to Key West, Florida, where Peter Glidden was spending the summer. So this would have been the summer of probably 1995, I think. And while I was there, I met a character who, in Rosenberg, who kind of came back to Knox a few times. He was friends with Monica Berlin and Keith Marin. And he said, I own a healthcare consulting firm in Lawrence, Kansas. You should go work there. And I said, what are you talking about? I have long hair, and I'm a hippie, and I can't do that kind of thing. And he said, you got to cut your hair off. You got to go give it a shot. Try the straight world. And I said, okay. So I went to Kansas.
What was the name of this fellow?
Steven Rosenberg.
I remember. Yeah, okay.
The name popped up a little bit because, again, he was friends with Keith Marin and to Knox a few times around that time. Like when Keith Marin was doing his senior's thesis, the play put on there. Cameron, you might have still been there. I don't recall.
Yeah, I saw the movie that he did his thesis on. I saw his show. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they had a thing. I mean, not a thing, just meaning kind of a complicated family-esque relationship. But he also had several businesses, most of which were in consulting for rural healthcare. And he said, you should take a job. You should go work in Kansas. And I said, all right, I'll go do that. And then I did that. Debbie lives in Kansas, and we had not been friends for a year or so out of college. But we kind of became friends again when she heard I was going back to Kansas. And she said, you know what, you should do that. You should leave the Madison house. You should go to Kansas And then I have a cousin who's getting married, and I will swing through and get you on her way from Champaign-Urbana, where she was in grad school, and we'll go back to my hometown and we'll do this wedding. It'll be fun. You'll have something to look forward to, moving to a small town and where I knew nothing and did nothing. And so we did that. It was fun. And at that point, Debbie and I hooked up and began what was to be a long-distance relationship, although in the parlance of the kids at the time, it wasn't it was more of a fun relationship than a committed relationship. And we did that for about a year. And then we both kind of independently decided, why don't we try this thing for real? And so she moved from Champaign-Urbana to Kansas, and we lived together probably around 1997. Mm-hmm. And then a few years later, I decided to move from the Kansas office of Rural Health Consultants to another rural health consulting firm that was out of a house in Oakland. So it was another Steven Rosenberg enterprise, but it was one that dealt with California health issues. And so we'll just do that for a couple of years. And so we both moved out with the sole intent of, we'll just do this for fun, because not only do we not have kids, we're not even married, we can do whatever we want. And so I did that, and then I decided I was going to apply to law school, and I actually was accepted to law schools in Chicago and in San Francisco. And I had every intent. What's that?
Stop there for a second. You're in the healthcare thing.
Yes. And then I decided I was going to go to law school.
On a whim, but I had stepped back for a minute. As we remember each other, I have the inkling that was on your mind when we were at Knox. You were at least
maybe you might be particularly perceptive, and I like that. There are a lot of lawyers in my family, and that made me at least on this. When that turned out to not be very much fun, and I needed a plan, that was my default. Was, well, I fantasy if it were for me.
So the idea
that I just got the sign saying I'm having difficulty.
Yeah. I think you are. We might have to pause this for a moment, and you have to restart your chat with us. That might clear up.
I can hear you now. Can you see or hear us, or should I restart the chat?
You know what? I'm thinking maybe Cameron, you're the tech guy on this on the interface. I think maybe it's best that shut off and restart real quick.
Sure.
Okay.
Wait.
We're still going to be live. You just can cut out and come back.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. The best part of that story got cut off. We have to remind him to tell it again. Or at least from my end. I don't know if it recorded on your end, but he said, "Well, yeah, we have. That's very of you, Sri."
Yeah.
And then, I didn't.
He said it was very, very perceptive of you.
I think that's what he meant. That's what he said, and then he was going to tell a story about how there's lots of lawyers in his family, and then.
And we already did the lawyer show, Shri. We already talked to Jeff about lawyers.
Yeah.
It was a lawyer show.
Hi again. We see you now.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hey, Debbie Glass. How are you? Glass of Debbie.
Reader, I'm so cheers. I have a beer. I'm so disappointed that I missed you last year. This is awesome. This is homecoming 2013.
Well, kind of. Cameron, can you explain to these two beautiful people why we do this sort of silliness?
Well,
for the record.
Well, like Joel was saying earlier, we're all suffering from this malady called middle age, and when we
it's kicking my ass. I hate it.
When we said goodbye 20 years ago, it was like goodbye. I'll never see you again. It's like I'm not going to write letters. I'm not. We're basically going in separate paths. But then Facebook happened, and now we're all connected. But we have this gap of 20 years, and our generation is the only generation that's going to have this effect, where we said goodbye, and now we've had this gap, and now we're back in touch in a totally unexpected way. Our kids are never going to have that. They will always be in touch with people who they've brushed up against in their lives as they go. You know, so this is a unique opportunity. You know, coming back and reconnecting.
So how many interviews have you guys done?
This is I think number 18. Though we did do a show at the Gizmo for homecoming.
Awesome.
For Cameron's home. Yeah, not for ours.
Yeah,
it
was. I went back with Shri this past October. This past it was the 10th, and we set up and talked to some people who came in. But you know, this is the more we do it, the more people are kind of getting clued in and are kind of enjoying it. So, and it's really fun, and seeing all the paths that we've all taken. It's
from my perspective, Facebook is nice. Facebook is an semi-instantaneous way of communicating ideas and thoughts and reactions to life's craziness. But it's nothing compared to a face-to-face conversation. It's nothing compared to, and at this point, face-to-screen conversation. It really doesn't matter. This is much more personal, much more interactive, much more satisfying. It's not quite the same as seeing each other at a bar or talking shop or inviting you to my house, but it's about the next best thing we can do given the technology around us.
We are incredibly overdue for a Chicago trip. Like, we have not been there in years and years and years and years, which is crazy. First of all, I want to make a side note. Sweetheart, I love your voice. Your
really?
Voice, yeah, it's like it's nice. Nice tones. Nice tones.
I know. I've been gargling wine for the last half hour, so that
I've always heard his voice, ever since I met him. Like, when he writes things in Facebook, I can hear him say it.
Yeah.
His voice is so
starting to blush over here, so I had to.
And Sri, I think it's less gargling wine. What I really meant to say is I think your voice has aged like a fine wine. That's what I meant.
Good.
Now just see now
it's an older voice, but it's really nice. I like it.
But what's so funny is having not heard you guys for 20 years, but then to be able to instantly recognize your voices. It's strange. It's a funny thing what your memory holds onto, and then what it releases when the time comes. I wouldn't have thought I would remember your voices, but there they are.
Okay, so let me interview you back. Sri, what is the greatest malady of middle age?
No, Sri likes middle age.
I'm actually not someone who frowns upon middle age. For one thing, and I said it earlier, and I'll say it again, that I personally didn't expect to survive this long. So now that I have, I'm appreciating every moment of it. The second part of it is that I am now old enough to get rid of some of the old baggage that I used to have as in my 20s and 30s, and I take on new baggage, but it's more expensive. It's more selective. I get to enjoy the baggage that I buy. I'm starting to sound like my wife in purses for some reason, but.
Oh my God, accessories! I love accessories.
Exactly right. I mean, we would take on, we would hoard everything in our 20s just to enjoy the experience, and keep that around us. When you realize that ultimately those experiences are wonderful, but they're instantaneous. The experiences that I have now. Just this weekend, my wife and I celebrated our 12th anniversary.
Hey!
I surprised her by taking her to Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, the mecca of the North Shore elite. and 12 years ago, or even 10 years ago, I didn't have the wherewithal to be able to spend that kind of money frivolously, even though it's important to do so. I would have been more. As a father and as a business person, I'd be more likely to move that money towards all right, let's just go to the movies and a really good dinner in downtown Chicago and be done with it. But we needed to get away from the space, our headspace, which is stuck here in Chicago or in Western Illinois. You know, we need to get out of town for a second, for a week. And it was cathartic. It was like we were in our early 30s again. We just got married. We were walking around where she bought half of Lake Geneva and tchotchkes and you know, and I didn't care a whit. If baby, that's what you want, that's what you get. Go right ahead, you know. And it was,
you want that tiny thing? You got it, baby.
You got it. All you need is more day. And the thing, before I would there would be a time where I'd say that just to get out of the doghouse for something else. You know what I'm saying? Because I was stuck in my me space. I was stuck in my 20s and 30s. I'm more important than the us.
Yeah.
Now that's reversed. I still have an I, don't get me wrong. But the I can, what satisfies this I part of me is so simple compared to just doing the things that the we or the us that makes my life much more, that my 40s are much brighter than I've again, if I'd taken this insight 20 years ago, man, I'd be like the BMOC. Women would be running towards me back then.
As opposed to away from.
All right, Cameron, your turn.
What? What was the question again?
Well, my question was what's the greatest malady of middle age, but instead I got a unifying theory of the universe about middle age. So, you know, I guess it's open. It's an open-ended.
I guess it's cool. Where am I going to go with this? I like seeing how everything has unfolded, especially like seeing friends and stuff. Like now, all of my friends are doing things and are very active career-wise, and like everybody's got a more complete story. And if I need to connect with someone on something specific, I probably know somebody who has expertise in that. I think that's one cool thing. Also, as you can see behind me, I've got my massive nerd collection. That's another thing that
What is that? What's in the what's?
It's all gaming books and stuff. Okay. So I don't care anymore. I mean, back in my 20s, that was something that I kind of hid. That was like at Knox, I wasn't a gamer, though I was in high school. But I wanted a girlfriend, so there was no way that I dropped that part of my life, and that's something that talking to other gamers. That's also true, but now, we're not putting up the facades anymore, and we have our life, and we're happy to lead it, and I feel like that's something that's really changed now.
But I think our advent in the Middle Age also coincided with this thing called the hugeness and the interconnectivity of the Internet. I mean, gaming is now not that nerdy anymore, or at least it has a critical mass of a lot of smart, funny people who like to do it, who write about it, and I mean, it's all came together at once in a very great way.
Well, that's because now our generation, when we were the ones who saw Star Wars in the theaters, and it blew our minds, and it turned us into people who like that kind of thing, and all our lives, our parents and the older people were kind of setting that aside, like that's not important, or it's not, it's not something you should spend your time with. They had their things, but we
You're
grew
saying
up.
You feel like you've inherited the earth now.
Well, yeah, now because we are the creators, we're the ones who are telling the stories. We're the ones creating the media and stuff, And because that was what we liked, now we get to be the ones to define how things are going. And so, like what Joel was saying, it's no longer a bad thing. It's like, it's acceptable, and it's, part of our culture, like in a big way.
Sure.
So you have found freedom in middle age, both of you.
I found I found a newfound enjoyment for my world, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying I got all the answers or any of that shit. I'm not gonna even go there. I'm fucking.
Oh, you have all the answers. I know you do. Come on.
No, are you kidding? I was bullshitting then, and I'm bullshitting now. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it with more confidence in my bullshit.
So, now I have to ask Joel, because we were in so many classes together at Knox. We were doing the philosophy thing, knowing full well that our lives were going to be, up for grabs or whatever, because, what do you do with philosophy? How many times did you hear somebody say that, ask you, what are you going to do with that? Was it a direction that you say do you like it? Is it something that helped you? Like now that you've walked the path and you've, looking back, is it something that you're glad that you majored in, or is it something would you have done it differently?
No, I wouldn't necessarily do it differently, but I have to say I don't know how much that I actually learned in philosophy when I was at Knox. I don't think I was a very good philosophy student. I think I tried way too hard to enforce my own fairly circumscribed view onto what as opposed to absorbing. But I will say that the idea of chasing out the answer and digesting a text is very much what I do now. And in fact, when I went to law school, I went to it from kind of a philosophical point of view of how fun would it be to try to take that rigor and then redevelop it and then apply it again as a 30-year-old to see if I could tackle these texts as the more mature person I wasn't back when I was 19. And I think that worked out very well. And that's one place where I feel very fortunate to be a lawyer, is not every day, but a surprising amount of the time I grapple with extraordinarily high concept materials, and it is part of my job to unravel them, to figure them out, and then re-present them in a coherent way. And so I kind of feel like I do a lot more philosophy now than I did 20 years ago, and I know that I'm a lot better at it. So I think the answer is that I wish I were better, and since I wasn't better back in college, some part of me wishes I wasn't quite as adverse to whether it was the sciences or the maths or other things. I am all but illiterate in those, so I regret not doing more of those at the time. So, yeah, there are regrets, but at the same time, my malaise of 40 is that I kind of don't care about the regrets anymore.
Yeah.
Because life's kind of awesome now.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. I'm getting rid of that. But I want to step back for a second, and a question came to me, Joel. You and I, it sounds like we had semi-parallel histories in the sense that we had Knox, and then we did whatever we were doing for a bit, and then we sort of stuck to grabbed a career path and decided to stick to it. A very simple question: undergrad versus grad school. Was grad school easier or harder, and why?
Law school is notoriously crushing, and so it was very hard, but I liked it because I knew that at least in theory, when I went through the machine and I came out the other side, I would have a skill and I would know what I was doing next. I genuinely loved college, but I went through a lot of it both embracing but then fearing the uncertainty of what is going to happen afterwards. And I can't speak for you guys, but I actually really hated the first few years after college. I hated them. It was so much worse than I ever thought it would be.
I don't don't know that I ever hated. I know, mind you, I was a biochemist, so I walked out of Knox with a biology degree with an emphasis in biochemistry. So this is
awesome.
It was a different. My path was different. It was all expected that I was supposed to go into medicine, and I did not. I had no desire to be a doctor. Partially because I felt that and a quick story. Many years later, I was part of a group that was in Vegas, and a friend of mine was getting married, and we were all invited, family friend, and we were all invited to Vegas because they were all doctors and they all had, his family had a timeshare or something in Vegas. My brother and I were the only ones who were not doctors. I think from the whole group, everyone else was an MD, a young MD, but an MD nonetheless. To a man, they were the most sexually repressed people I've ever met in my entire life.
That's not what I thought.
I was just going to say, I think that's where you were going with this.
I kept suggesting things, and they kept saying, "No, I'm married." So
and mind you, they're dealing with the human body. You would think, but they loved the adult entertainment aspect of Vegas. It was the absolute. I was just married maybe 3 or 4 years. My I think
My wife was still giving me lap dances. I didn't see what the big
or I guess whatever sexual repressed tendencies I may have had in college or afterwards, I sort of burnt that out in that phase time between being at Knox and after Knox, and then starting graduate school at Northwestern. By the time I hit Northwestern, I didn't even think about I got this to do and I got work. I want to get through this. Once I get through this, I got opportunities happening. I'll worry about having fun later.
Well, good wage winners, they usually can.
Because I was in a band for like.
You can get a little action. So there you go.
I was having a good time playing in a jazz band of all things. In my 20s.
So.
I'd sort of burnt out all that urge to. Hell, I was playing titty bars. Why do I want to be at a titty bar? I didn't need it. It was. I'd already burnt myself past that interest.
So
guys, MDs, and I'm going, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my God, they see naked people all the time.
That's what I'm saying. What?
Speaking of naked people,
I don't get it.
Speaking of naked people, I have to ask Joel about Burning Man.
Oh, right.
Joel promised me he was never naked at Burning Man. Do you want to bring this up?
Does it really matter?
No, What is that scene? How many times have you gone, and what's that scene like? I am dying to check it out, but
Cameron,
I don't know anybody.
We'll be bunk buddies.
Well, remember the first time I went was with Debbie and some other friends of ours. The second time was also with Debbie, and then I went a third time with those same friends, but without Debbie.
Well, actually, basically the wives stayed at home because we all have kids now, and it turns out Burning Man happens when school starts.
That's right.
So somebody has to stay home for the first day of school.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
But Burning Man is awesome.
Yeah.
Hands down, it's just phenomenal. A great, great, great time. How do you even bottom line Burning Man?
Actually, I want to tell my Burning Man story.
No.
I'm gonna get a little.
Go use the bathroom.
Give me another beer. That'd be great. Sorry.
I'm eating drinks.
Do you want to hear from me? I assume you're fascinated by anything I have to say, right?
I am. What's going on?
Yeah. I'm like Skype bombing here.
No. Go ahead. Burning Man.
we went to Burning Man for the first time, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it because I don't like to endorse nakedness and drug use unless it's illicit. All that, I don't know. It just seemed a little too, I don't know. It was too hippie for me, right? And I got there, and so we got there the first night, and we showed up at our camp, and I didn't know anybody, and everybody was just high as hell, and it sucked. They were assholes. And I was like, oh, my God, I am trapped here for this next week.
Yeah.
And we went to set up our tent, and I'd borrowed a tent from a friend, and I didn't have any tent poles.
Oh, my
So
God.
I had no tent at Burning Man. So I was there with our friend's husband, and then Joel was coming with the wife. So we kind of split up couples because we could just leave at different times. So I was there. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have tent poles. I was pissed. I mean, I was very cranky because like everybody was jerky. And I go up to what's called Center Camp. Do you guys kind of know there's like a main area.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there being very cranky by myself. And this kind of middle-aged couple comes up, and it's this, and the woman's shirtless, and the guy's there, and he's like, "Hey, you know, are you okay? You look kind of bummed out, you know, with a super crazy hippy dippy way that pissed me off." And then the woman came up, and she had like all this body paint all over her, and she was like, "Oh, this guy just painted my breasts, and I felt so honored." And I was like, "I hate you so much right now. Like, I just hate that shit." And I was like, I hate Burning Man so much. I can't believe I'm trapped here for a week. But then I found out there was like somebody with Wi-Fi. So this was several years ago, and there was like one little Wi-Fi patch that somebody was set up at. And I went and I hung out there until I could borrow somebody's computer to email Joel to tell him to pick up tent poles. And there was this hilarious like little Buddha guy sitting there, totally naked, with his laptop, who ended up letting me email Joel. And I started talking to him, and he was doing this great mapping project, which would seem totally whatever. You could do this on any given Wednesday. But it was like when GPS was like brand new, because this was like 10 years ago now. And he was doing a mapping project all around Burning Man, and it was like really geeky and cool, and like I really liked it, and it wasn't hippy dippy, and it was kind of techy. And I remember I was like, that's when Burning Man got good for me. And I remember that guy said to me, he said, everybody finds what they're looking for at Burning Man. And I think that's totally true. So there's all sorts of things there that you can be completely opposed to, but you find what you're looking for at Burning Man. And I found the GPS guy.
I've heard that statement before, like, you know, reading things online about it, you know. Everybody finds what they want, or what they're looking for.
So I was incredibly put off and really pissed about being trapped there. And then I found what I was looking for, and then I had a great time after that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Sorry, was that a good story, or was that just...
No, that was awesome.
No, that was awesome. That was great. That was perfect, because I mean, like I said, I've not talked to anybody who's actually been, you know, and I'm fascinated by it. I
think you would dig it. It's so much better than the Renaissance Fair.
But it's also an economy of giving, right? There's you don't pay for anything, right? Or is that changing?
Actually, that's really cool. That's actually really fun to be commerce free for a week. It's an amazing experience. But then by the end of the week, those damn porta potties are so full of shit.
Yeah.
That you're like, you feel like you're also end of days, and you're like, this is what it looks like when civilization breaks down, and you are ready to put your wallet back in your pocket and get back to it. It's like. Yeah.
But I wouldn't overstate the economy of barter just because it's not really set up like an economy. Everybody goes there with everything they need, and then everybody practices what they call the radical inclusionism. And so it's not like you go somewhere and say, I have apples, could you give me, you know, LSD? People just go, they feed everybody, or people have drinks there for everybody. And it's really more just everybody's throwing a party and everybody's invited.
It's more of a hosting spirit rather than a barter economy.
Yes.
The only other
but that's even better.
The only other person that I know in our social set that's gone religious is Ephraim. Yeah.
Ephraim.
Right. And he's committed. He's committed.
Right. So he's the kind who goes. He leads this great big camp. And then they ramp up to it for 6 months, and then they ramp down from it.
Sri, do you have a price tag on the bottom of your wine glass?
Do I? Oh God, I do. Would you look at
that?
John Maynard Keynes?
Classy, man.
It was $1.09.
Again, classy.
So Shree, you know that when I went last year, I found Ephraim's camp.
Oh,
and
fantastic!
out a couple of times. Oh, it was surreal, bizarre, but very fun. And he is the leader of his camp of about 100 people, and they all revered him, as you can probably wouldn't be too surprised to find out.
No. I was blessed to see. This was about 6 years ago. Him and Megan and Lily. Lily is the daughter. She's now a teenager, but the three of them were coming into Chicago, and I had some time to kill, and I took them to a little speakeasy joint, a little diner joint that I hang out at in Chicago, and we had lunch together, and him and I drank some really cheap whiskey, but we chatted for the longest time, for about 3 or 4 hours, and then I ended up going home. That's the last time I saw him, and that was when Lily was about 12 or 13. Lily is now...
You're like the host of Chicago.
No, not that. After Eric, I've made it a point that I don't want to lose communication with people anymore.
Mm.
Now that we've got Facebook and we had Facebook then, but it was in infantile stages by when he took his life, so the opportunity wasn't there, or at least using internet. Now that we have this way to connect, I want to use it to create social setting. I want to create a chance for everyone to hang out one Friday a month for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And just before you get back to husbands, wives, children, whatever, chill out for. Let's see what's going on.
So if I come by, you'll let me hang out without Joel, because I'm around my husband all the damn time.
All the damn time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You kidding me?
So we can ditch this guy. We can have a few beers, some cheap whiskey.
You wouldn't have anything to talk about if I wasn't there.
Oh, please.
No, but in the end, the one thing that I've come away with the 20 years that we've missed each other is that I might not be the best scientist in the world. I may not be the best communicator in terms of my ideas. Sometimes I falter or I get sarcastic or I get comedic. But in the end, if I can get people to just get them all in the same room together and just buy everyone around, okay, now you guys go ahead and have a good time.
Yeah, so you're a facilitator.
My sixth grade teacher called me the king maker. I will never be king. I don't want to be king. King maker, however, I'm more than happy to do that.
I suspect we're all king makers, to be honest.
Oh, I think we are. I think we are. We're connecting disparate groups together. You know, different aspects of the same experience. That's what, in fact, that's what this is. That's what Cameron and I are kind of doing. We're kind of bringing in our connections.
So you're going to put this in a time capsule and send it out to space?
Well, not we don't need to anymore.
It's online, so it's there forever.
Yeah.
Along with pictures of me in a toga and a cigarette.
Yeah.
And nothing but a black toga and a cigarette.
So Joel, are you doing Tough Mudders and stuff too?
Yeah, you are.
In fact, I did 2 Tough Mudders in the last 6 weeks. One in Seattle and one in Tahoe.
What asked you to do that sort of stupid, silly shit?
You were running. I remember you were a runner back in college, right?
You
did it on occasion.
To be and being a heavy smoker. Trey and I would go out sometimes and run, but it was never habitual.
Okay, so what brought on this? Was it the doctor's appointment? Did he say you have to do more Tough Mudders?
Yeah.
No,
I think Joel just fell in with the wrong crowd.
Exactly. No, I had been trying to figure out what I would do to start exercising again because it's just hard with families and with everything. And I had a coworker who I was friends with who said, I'm going to run a half marathon. You should run this half marathon with me. And at any time up until that point, I'd always said, oh, no, I don't know, I don't run like that. And for whatever reason, it caught me at exactly the right moment, and I said, maybe I could do that. And so I went to the internet, and I printed out a grid that said, if you want to train for a half marathon, do these things. And I said, I can do that. I will just do those things you tell me to do. And I basically carried it around with me for 3 months, and it said, Tuesday, 30 minutes on the elliptical. And I said, yes, sir, 30 minutes on the elliptical. And then I built up and did the half marathon, and it was great. And then since then, I've hooked up with other people, mostly parents at my children's school, and do other runs, and then the Tough Mudders came through that. A friend from school said, I have a Tough Mudder team, you should join it. And then I convinced my brother to do it, and then he took to it as well. He's a little older and had gotten hit very hard by the middle-aged stick as well, and it just clicked with him in the same way. He's like, that would be a way to do it, to have this thing to look forward to, this kind of crazy, tough thing. I know I would never be close to the best, but it inspired him, and so we've done it 2 years now, and we'll probably do it for a couple more years at least.
So I assumed that you've stopped smoking.
Yes.
And how long has it been?
Well, see, that's what's fun. What I was about to say is I'm lucky in that I get to chip. I don't have anything like a habitual habit, but I get to dip in and out just for fun. And in fact, I smoked 3 cigarettes just this last Friday because I had a boys' night out because Debbie was in Kansas with the kids. Okay. And I kicked back and smoked 3 cigarettes.
Because my dad is dying of lung cancer.
Yeah, there's some tension.
Okay. So I'm looking in the whole crystal ball underneath my fez. All right. No, I had to quit cold turkey. I just a different story, but I'm still short, fat. Not fat. No, I'm short and rotund still, and
Rubenesque.
Rubenesque. It was.
And by Rubenesque, I mean adorable.
Oh, stop! Now you're making again.
Too many sandwiches.
Too much wine.
Too many whiskeys.
It was summer. It was just after my kids' 5th birthday, and I was still smoking like a chimney. I was.
Wow.
I was, and I was trying to tail it back. It was near that 40-something was coming up, and to date I had always kept it from the kids. I never smoked in the car, never smoked in the house, never smoked in the old apartment. It was always my time. I would go away and do my time. Well, the kids were playing in the backyard one day, and I thought, all right, they were playing with their friends. And I went out and I had a cigarette. And the one child comes up to me, and she's 5 years old, smiling, "Hey, Dad, what are you doing?" And at that point, I realized the jig is up. I could not feasibly explain to them, this is something that you should not do. While the smoke is coming out of my nose and mouth.
Daddy's playing a dragon for your play date.
See, I think you overestimate 5-year-olds. At that point, you could say, "Oh, I just found a cigarette on the ground and I picked it up." They would have believed it. My wife obviously knew, but I kept it. I didn't keep it in her face, if you will. I just would on my own. And I immediately, right around our anniversary, I said, I got it. It's time. So I talked to my doctor and I got Chantix. I loved Chantix. And in fact, it is. I will openly say this on the internet. If not for LSD, Chantix would have been a bad idea. But Chantix works so beautifully well.
with my mentality because my dreams rocked my world. I loved them. Everyone is the whole disclaimers on the side of the ad. Oh, you might get weird dreams. I invited them in. I needed the detox.
Right. So am I hearing this right? You gave up smoking and you're addicted to prescription drugs now?
No. For 1 month, it was as if I was doing flunk day every day. It was the coolest thing. But then I went, okay, that it was meant for me it was meant to distract me effectively from desiring the tobacco. We now have a personal trainer that comes 3 days a week, and I'm getting to a point where I'm actually considering the Tough Mothers, but not yet. It's not something I would do anyway, so I'm not convinced that, oh yeah, I want to join. I want to be part of this. I just assume, you know what? I'm good. I don't have to prove that I'm fine where I'm at. I just want to work with my trainer and be healthy, But that was 3 years ago. My kids are almost 4 years ago. 4 years ago now.
I want to go hike with Chris Murray. That's my tough mudder. I've got to find a way to do that.
For what Chris Murray does, you mean?
Oh yeah, I mean the pictures he posts are gorgeous. Like where he is, and he's clearly embraced that outdoor lifestyle. So.
Is he in Oregon?
Yeah, he's in Oregon. You and I have to move to the hinterlands.
I know. We're talking to people out west all the time. So
it's not the same thing.
Wait, so, Cameron, where are you?
What?
Where are you, Cameron?
I'm in Chicago.
Well, you are in Chicago.
Where? I am in the city. Edgewater.
Okay.
So essentially Devon and Clark.
Okay.
All right. I know Clark. I don't know if I know Devon.
Little India, my dear. You just go find Little India and it is on Devon Avenue. You can just go like this. It's very good. The aromas coming out of the building is just
Right, so Sri comes over and you say, "Welcome home, Sri."
That's right. One time, and on the way back, I had to pick up, like naans from our favorite restaurant before I went back out.
Yeah.
But
are you a suburb guy, Streeter?
I'm a suburban guy, and not by choice. I lost the fight, or it's one of those times where you have to. We were living in Evanston, where I just finished my graduate degree.
Right.
And we had a condo. Now, if we had only one kid, we could have hung on the condo for a good 2 or 3 years without an issue, even through grade school.
Yeah, well, I think you can always do city life with one kid. You have 2 kids, right, Cameron?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we all.
You're like doing it. You are doing the thing.
I'm doing the thing. Wait, which thing is this?
Which is the living in the city with 2 kids nuttiness.
Oh.
But you have to meet Madeline and Olivia. They are amazing children. It's a different groove. If you have brains as a child, all children have brains. It's a fight, but if there is some advocacy and just natural talent, Chicago is actually, all we hear is the bottom end of the bell curve in the news. You know what I mean?
That's better than Oakland. You don't have to tell me about shitty scores.
Right, but median alone in Chicago is well worth its salt against, even Galesburg or Podunk, Idaho, or wherever. You know what I mean? Median Chicago is competitive to anything that any of the suburbs have to offer.
So tell us about your kids, Cameron. What's awesome about them?
What's awesome about them? They are not shy. They love performing. Actually, let's see. My oldest really she likes being on stage, and I don't know where she got that because both me and my wife are like totally you know, we'd rather hide in the back. But no, and she's really good with learning scripts and stuff like that. So so there's that. And then Madeline is a creator. She goes into the recycling bin and pulls out stuff and makes things.
Madeline and I'm sorry,
Madeline and Olivia.
Olivia. Okay.
Yeah. So they're, you know, and Madeline will get furious if what she's making isn't what she's picturing in her head. Like she's set in like
what are their
drawn
zodiac
things.
signs?
What?
What are their zodiac signs? This is important. I need to know the important stuff.
I think they're both Libras because they're both October. I'm October as well, so.
Yeah, I love Libras. Libras are my favorite.
Good.
Why are Libras?
Everybody's got to have a favorite.
Yeah.
It's just because. Okay.
Yeah. I love Libras. I love Cancers. I love Leos.
There's tons of Libras because you know New Year's Eve is 9 months prior. I know so many people who have birthdays around my birthday.
Yeah.
So like early October.
Well,
Well, so Cameron, what is your wife like?
She's born and raised in Chicago. We actually live in the house that she grew up in. She's a great wife and mother. I mean, she puts up with me, so you know.
She went to Concordia?
What?
She went to Concordia?
No.
No.
Concordia. What are you talking about?
The girls' high school around the corner.
Oh, it's not. What is it called? Scholastica.
Scholastica. That's it.
Scholastica. Yeah.
I don't understand the whole church hierarchy shit.
So, I've got Shree.
Yes, sir.
Do you think it's time for the D20 questions?
No.
No.
Ask a question.
What?
Who did you marry? I want to know who you guys married.
Well, I know who Shree married because he posts photos of her. I don't think I've ever seen your wife on Facebook, Cameron.
She's got a Facebook presence.
Yeah, she does. She's definitely more private.
Well, I mean, but I'm not friends with her, but I'm friends with you, Cameron, and I just can't recall that you've ever posted a photo of your wife, whereas Shree has definitely posted photos of his wife.
Okay, but that doesn't tell me who
What's
your wife
your consternation, by the way?
Yeah, I don't care what your wife looks like. What's your wife's deal?
My wife's deal?
Yeah. 100 words or less. You guys have word count.
No, my wife is the emotional powerhouse of the family.
Okay.
The strength. I am. If I'm the brains, she's the heart. And by the way, she's got a whole shitload of brain cells in her heart as well.
Medical.
I'm a biochemist. What the hell do you want? That was my. If I were to do a philosophy thing, then I'd be going. Oh, she's much more Kant, and I'm much more Goethe. I don't know what. Being a biochemist, that's what I do.
I put brains and hearts. That's what I do. You guys don't know anything about science.
I'm all about brains and hearts. It's Halloween. She's the lawyer by disposition. She's a barrister in India, of all things.
Okay.
And if we ever move back to India for whatever reason, she can immediately go back and practice.
Great.
It's a universal. She at the High Court, no less.
That's your if the shit hits the fan bailout plan.
Disappear. If
head off to India. We've got it all set up.
I end up teaching people teaching call centers how to speak in a Chicagoan accent. And make a killing doing that while my wife prosecutes divorce cases in India.
You know, you guys would be like one of the 3 richest kings.
we would have a big home. It would be fantastic. and my kids will be at the American school, and they'll have a substandard education compared to everyone else around them. That's what's going to happen.
Okay.
No, quite frankly,
I tell you guys about my husband, but I feel like you guys kind of probably know him as well as I do. So.
you know what? I have to admit, I may have had a reputation as a younger man. I have made some pretty happy decisions since I've left Knox. But the first and foremost decision I made is going to Knox, because I would not have made the future decisions because of that passport. I had a choice of going to the University of Chicago, and I have to tell you, I would have been an asshole coming out of there.
Yeah.
I would have been an elitist, intellectual, effete. I swear to, I probably would have been a lawyer, or a doctor, and would have thought that I was God in heaven himself. And I am glad I was humbled by brighter people around me, and the failings of the errors or the successes that I've made while I was there.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I will never say that I'm regretting anything. My regrets are small decisions, not big ones. The small decisions I made were because of youth. Big decisions I made were because I took some time and deliberated over them, and in part because of the people around me. I loved it. I will not openly regret the major decisions that I made. I wouldn't be the person I am without them. I'm pretty confident about the group that I was. Much more confident than you guys remember me back in Knox. I was a fucking idiot at Knox. Are you kidding? I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Go to Knox.
Hmm?
Would you guys let your kids go to Knox?
For the same reason I went to Knox, because the money was better. In other words, I was given. The only reason why I went to Knox was because of money. Had the University of Chicago offered me $5,000 off of my tuition like Knox did per year for the 4 years that I was there, I would have immediately went to the University of Chicago. By the way, I went through the same interview process and the same audition. It was the audition at Knox that got me there. Also, by the way, if I were to do that same audition today to go to Knox, they would say, fuck you, you're an idiot. The musicians there now are amazing. Are well above and beyond anything that I've ever gone through. I met them. I was there 2 weeks ago. They were geniuses. I go, God, you're like 12, and you're a genius at this instrument.
Yeah.
Kids are smarter, more talented, and better now than we were when we were kids.
I think that's right. I think in general, we're putting a lot more resources into them, I think.
Arguably, but I also think that since Garlock, and I'm gonna make that point very clear, since Scott showed up in our sophomore year, music department has evolved to being competitive against Western, Northern Illinois, Northwestern University. I mean, it's a powerhouse. Knox's music department is a powerhouse. I freely admit that. When I was going there, and when we were going there, it was fledgling, and they needed somebody like me to. Oh, you can hit things, and you know how to read. Okay, go.
Yeah.
You know, I would never, and that's the reason why Chicago said, "Fuck you! I know smarter people who can do this."
Cameron, would you send your kids to Knox?
You know, again, it's probably the same situation as Shree's.
Opportunity.
Like if they had the money, if the package was good enough.
Okay, money is fine.
But you know, I don't. Is there?
Go back to the abstract.
What?
Go back to the abstract. You're working in the abstract really well. This isn't pragmatic. Philosophically, would you let your kids go to Knox?
Yes, absolutely. I would.
I guess my question is do you see something that you think is not good? Is there? I mean, I thought it was great. I thought the size was great. It was perfect for me. But I don't. I guess I kind of see it as I don't feel like it's gotten like it's not as good as it was before. I guess I don't really know.
I think it was really great. I just think that when I got out of Knox, and I felt like I got out into the world, and I was like, holy shit, everybody around me was so much smarter and more sophisticated. And it took me a really long time to go find my way.
Well, I think that for me, both the professors and the students, and this was in philosophy, of course, so, specific breed, but I felt like the antipathy that Knox had towards the outside world, towards practicality. Like, I was no philosopher, but nobody ever said to me, maybe you should find a real job as opposed to do philosophy. That wasn't... And it turns out the real world is actually a very rich place. Jobs are great. There's plenty of room for creativity, pride, advancement. The real world is a very broad and awesome place. And I felt like it was definitely a message I wanted to hear, but I felt like it came from all levels of, oh no, academia, the real world is a toxic, poisonous place. And, you get the message you want. Now remember, sure, you're in a different department than we were.
I was in a different department.
But then I want to counter that and say that, to Sri's point, there were so many opportunities that we never would have had on any other campus. Like doing a radio show was awesome.
Right, exactly.
Making it easy to double major was awesome.
That was fun. Those were good.
Don't be so doubting. Back off, doubting.
No, those were good.
And the mentorship was amazing. Like, I think that the individual attention that we got was really amazing. But it also gave me a false sense that people were actually interested in me.
Yeah. No, I can see that, but I feel like I imagine the bubble is, I don't know, maybe like that in other. I guess I would say it's probably similar in other smaller colleges. Like when you go to a university, you're just another person just being run through the mill. But like, so yeah, I can see where there was that bubble that made us think that what we were thinking and doing actually mattered. But yeah,
I'm just saying. I think it was a mixed blessing.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it, but by the time I was my senior year, I was so done. I had to get out. I couldn't be there anymore. There was just I was just kind of going stir crazy, and that could have been all the things that were happening, and just feeling a level of disaffection. I feel like when you're a senior, when you're about ready to graduate, you know that this thing is coming, and also all of the underclassmen, especially living in the teak house, all of a sudden the culture in the house was changing as well, and it was like, now I don't really identify with all of these people like I did when I was a sophomore and a junior, so like, well, the environment was changing, and I felt like I needed to get out, but thank God.
Think about Ephraim, Uhlenhop, and Ripper when 22 of us showed up in Joel and I's year, to live in that place. They went, what the fuck is this? What the hell are we gonna do now?
Yeah.
I gotta tinkle real quick, and then we're gonna do 20 questions. So ask another question. You guys chat while I mute myself real quick. And
are you gonna tinkle in the basement? Is that? He's gonna get a bottle or something.
I'm just saying that I don't want to. I'm just gonna.
Okay, you said enough. You said enough.
No, keep talking.
So I mean, do you think? I mean, would you send your kids to Knox?
I don't know.
I honestly,
I think
it
depends on who our kids turn out to be. I think it just depends.
Yeah, yeah. I personally loved the experience. Like I said, it was what I needed for, and I got out of like I needed to get across the country. I needed to get out of state. I didn't want to be near my family and stuff. I needed that kind of space, and Knox totally gave it to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and I don't want to imply that I didn't enjoy it. I did quite a bit, but
I know you did.
But no, I truly loved it, and I hated leaving.
I know it was a lot of fun.
Right, and I kept coming back. I mean, I lived in Madison, and I was back probably 10 times that next year.
And and you know, like the friendships that I made, and I was looking forward to this conversation because, you know, I remember you very, very much, like so many different things in my mind from that, from Knox. I mean, you were one of the big, more memorable personalities there.
Oh, we hung out all the time. It was super fun.
You were so memorable.
Aw, thanks.
Well, it was the brotherhood of the long hair type thing, you know.
No doubt about it. That was important.
Yeah, it was.
But so my dourness is not about Knox itself, I guess. I don't even know, because I definitely loved it. But
academia.
Is it though? I just feel like I still look back at that, and I feel like it was so rewarding of this kind of hostile antipathy towards anything that the 99% of the world does, whether it's being a lawyer or being whatever you need to do. And I would send my kids to Knox, but I would try really hard to say, learn how to think, and then be ready to join the world, because the world's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great stuff out there as well. Don't hide in the bubble too long.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I guess, and now I'm going to speak to the philosophy aspect of the conversation. Is that, and I'm talking not codified academic philosophy, but personal philosophy. There are only 3 things that I told my wife when we first got married. I told her, we're planning to have kids. Well, I don't know when, but we're going to do it. And so I got some ideas, and there are 3 things that I need them to do. I need them to think critically and reasonably. I need them to understand that money is a tool, and I have to teach them how to use the tool and not covet possessing it. In other words, let's be reasonable about what we're doing with this tool.
Okay, so we've got brains, money. What's left? Looks.
But no. They needed to have a musical education. In other words, by the time that they were 18 years old, they would have had at least 12 years of musical education. They started at 6. And I more specifically, they were going to do piano from ages 6 to 10, which they're 9 now. So, and at 10 years old, they get to decide, Dad, fuck you, I'm done. You know.
I'm playing clarinet.
Or B, I want to play the whatever band instrument was offered to them. Or C, already one boy has said, no, I'm playing guitar. You find me the best guitar player you know. I want to learn from them. And I'm going, yes, sir. I'll see what I can do. I already know who that person is. I don't know if he's got the time. But
Is it Eric Clapton? He's awful good.
No, I don't know. I don't know him that well. But the guitarist that used to play with me in the band that I had, I consider him one of the best jazz guitarists ever that I've ever played with. And he's still very good. He's very busy, but I'd love to have him teach my kids. I know he's teaching his own kids. You know.
Okay, you guys, I understand you're going to do some game called 20 Questions.
Yeah, let's.
I'm going to beg. I think we'll beg off here. And
Why?
Don't
you want to know?
What?
Don't you want to
Do you
know?
want Joel answers? Isn't it Joel answering the 20 questions?
Or we could wrap it up in 10 minutes, and then we can put the kids to bed. Ask us questions.
I hate to stomp on everyone, but it seems to have become the Joel Debbie groove, and I like it. I'm not going to disagree with it. I enjoy the fact that the both of you have participated in this. I got a twofer in this interview.
I don't get it. So did I add valuable bonus material, or did
I'm rolling twice. Once for Joel, once for Debbie.
Would
Great.
you?
Dial us up again, and I'll have Debbie, and then I'll take over Debbie's.
Yeah.
Or I roll as if I'm rolling for Joel, but both of you get to answer the same.
Well, I'm the interesting one in this power couple.
Well, there is that. Yeah.
There is that, right?
So here's the way it goes. The first thing is that there's a 6-sided die. That's the number of questions I get to ask you. So I'm rolling that dice now, and holy shit, the number 6. So there are 6 questions.
Perfect number of questions.
There it is. So I use the 20-sided die, and on my second screen, I have a second screen because I'm a geek and I love it. I have a second screen, and on it is a Word file that has 20 questions. I get to roll the dice and then ask the questions. And so the first question is number 8. If you couldn't, for whatever reason, study the major you graduated in, what major would you have chosen and why?
All right, Debbie's first.
I feel so
And we're presuming at Knox because we are all undergrads. So
yeah.
Right, so we're thinking like we would have thought back then.
if you could not
Right.
study,
Like, close the philosophy department. A tsunami took away Ken Palin, Lance Factor, and Jonathan Lee, and so we're stuck with something else.
Ooh.
what would you study?
That is a really great question. I think history or art, but not art history.
Remind me again what you graduated in, and then move
I
forward.
graduated with a philosophy degree.
Okay, and so now why would you have
What are
studied?
dinner parties like at your house? Oh my God.
Oh,
Philosophy
I
major.
can't imagine.
We keep it light these days. We've used our
Yeah.
philosophical prowess to learn how to become masters at small talk.
yes.
And everybody's happier that
Yes,
way.
trust me.
But
Don't keep it light. Keep it light, people.
okay, so,
Yeah,
so let's
as
start
my
with
friends,
Debbie.
I have a girlfriend who told me recently, she's like, you've got the gift of gab. And I was like, yes, ma'am.
And it took 20 years to develop it.
So Debbie, what you're saying that you would have done history or
Or art.
Or art. Probably
Or art.
flute.
and
Yeah.
why?
Oh, no, this is going to take too long. I just would have done one of those.
We got nothing but time.
Our kids have to go to bed in 10 minutes.
Yeah. No, I just think
Then this is the money question for
a
Debbie.
lot of what I do now is related to craft. So to Cameron's earlier question, I think that with my philosophy degree, I don't think the actual substantive material has any real influence on my day-to-day life, but I do think I developed a work style that I use every day
Mhm.
in that major. But a lot of my work is related to craft as well, so it might have been nice to do an art major and refine that craft. I also felt like I knew nothing about the world, and I've kind of, been an armchair historian since then, and I really like how those pieces fit together. So I think I would have liked being a history major.
Now, is that something you would have thought of at the time, or are you looking back now, that's something that you kind of wish you knew about?
Looking back, but we got to keep this moving.
Looking back, that's the nature of the question, I think.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, to answer both the questions, I'm sure I would have been a literature major, only because I liked those big ideas, whether or not I was able to deal with them or not. But what I would wish I would have done, if I could look back and start all over again, I'd be an economics major. I would love to have that kind of thorough knowledge of how money fits together, both historically and in a present sense.
You understand you would have needed like differential statistics and calculus.
Hey.
Believe it or not, I'm better than that than most lawyers are, but I would love to be perfectly adept at it.
I'm throwing it out there because everyone thinks economics majors is a default thing to go to, when in fact there's some heady mathematics that needs to be
I
understood.
think actually Joel would have been great at that. I think Joel.
No, I think.
No, I'm just saying that because he would have been great at that.
Frankly,
I learned my focus after school. I didn't learn my focus till law school.
No, I argue that both of you would have been wonderful biochemists. I think both of you had an innate understanding of observable data around you, you know.
We're good systemic thinkers, and I think we probably could have done that stuff as systemic thinkers.
Good.
All right.
All right, next question. No, number 2. We have the second question. 9. 9 is, if your internet were shut off for a week, what would you do with your time for that week?
Is my internet shut off at work as well?
Right, or am I staying in your home?
Universally so.
Oh, so the internet's down everywhere.
Yep.
I would, at work, I would probably write an article, and at home, I would cook and listen to music.
Debbie.
Cool.
At home, I would clean house.
Maybe the power cleaner of this couple.
Yeah. Your wife might be the heart of your family. I'm the power cleaner of this family.
Okay.
Have you ever heard that Neil Young song, "Every Man Needs a Maid"?
Yeah.
Joel just married me instead.
Right, exactly.
He was very strategic in this alliance.
Although I got to say, more than once in our marriage, Debbie has rented one of those great big Stanley Steamer style carpet cleaners. I could live to be another 1,000 years, and I would never rent one of those.
I'm with you, Joel.
Do you remember how filthy Joel used to be?
How what?
Do you remember how filthy and stinky Joel used to be?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm not anymore.
No, he's not anymore.
No, I'm not anymore.
Oh,
But I honestly would never rent a carpet cleaner.
none of us are, but we didn't know any better back then.
No.
It was a
that
point
was,
of pride.
That was a cultivated filth
Absolutely.
that you guys put together.
It was a point of pride.
Yeah.
Mine was okay. Yeah, I guess. Okay.
Hey,
Now I have to change the question. Did you just smell bad, or did you have a cultivated filth, and why? That should be a question. Anyway,
I'm not sure that question has a universal applicability.
I don't know. In our 20s, what is at the top of your bucket list and why? Do you have a bucket list and why?
I want to go to Tibet, and I want to skydive.
What?
I want to go to Tibet. I do. I want to go to Tibet.
I feel like I don't know him at all.
She just heard this online.
Who are you?
I just read something a few years ago that was somebody traveling through China, and they kind of went up to Tibet, and they just said it had this rarefied, almost essentialist spiritual quality to it, as if they were at the very end of the world. And it was a very appealing description. And I said, I want to go to that place that feels like it's at the very edge of the world and perhaps breeds spiritualism. I was just very interested in that. And then skydiving, because it's kick-ass. Can you believe people jump out of airplanes and then have a little parachute that opens up? That's just awesome.
So you're really into thin air.
I mean, apparently. I mean, I've never made that connection before, but yeah, it's right there.
By the way,
that's the core of the spiritualism.
The way Debbie's looking, she's going, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
I don't think Debbie will go skydiving with me, but I have seen that will.
Turn off video at this point and let you kids figure that part out.
It's becoming more like the Newlywed Game now.
Yeah, right.
Make whoopee.
Twice.
Yeah, only.
We have two children.
That was
Debbie, bucket list, come on.
Oh, Stockholm. I just want to go to Stockholm with my family.
This is the fourth question out of 6.
Stockholm. Okay.
Oh, no.
We have friends from Sweden. They're awesome.
We already did that. Holy shit. I'm rolling really bad rolls here. If you were an app on your smartphone, what app would you be and why?
I don't think I have to answer that question.
Can I roll again? That's
Yeah, you gotta roll again.
Yeah, not a big fan of that question.
Neither am I. What's your favorite kind of pizza and why?
I'm so sick of pizza.
Yeah, too much pizza. Too much pizza with kids.
Yeah. If I ever eat pizza again, I think I'll die.
But that said, very, 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 very thin crust and like margarita pizzas with the big hunks of mozzarella as opposed to the shredded all over.
Yeah.
Or like the ones with like, broccolini and, that super dry flaky sausage. That's really good.
Yeah. I like it. That was your fourth. And
Broccoli Rob, not broccolini. Don't make that mistake. Don't use broccolini.
Is this thing loaded? Okay, here we go. I'm loaded. Here we go. If you could be a classic, and in keeping with Halloween, if you could be a classic movie monster, which one would you be and why?
Oh, Godzilla all the way.
Movie monster. Let's be
Right.
clear.
Godzilla all the way.
Why?
You want to be big and destructive and.
Yeah, somehow I just think, those short arms and that fire-breathing power, that's amazing. Like, really is such a disadvantage, and it's like, oh, you think these short arms can't get you? Wait till you see the range on my fire-breathing power.
Yeah, you like to be the dark horse in your own life.
Yeah.
Right, good. I think I want to be the Invisible Man.
Ooh.
That's a superpower that has no good that's just for evil people. It's what can you do with it's like the pervert superpower. What do you?
Yeah. I've spent a lot of my time learning how to be the Invisible Man. I think it would just be fun for a little while just to kind of go back to drifting amongst other people and have them live their lives and have me get to kind of fly speck it again.
Okay.
I never said that I had a good reason for it. Just as soon as you said it, I'm like, that's interesting. That'd be fun to go back to it.
By the way, that was question 4. We have 2 more questions.
All right, let's do it.
Number 5. What would be your ideal vacation? Describe in detail. This is a collective question at this point. Or
our next awesome vacation.
No, it's an individual question at this point. Let's make it an individual question. Debbie Glass, you go first.
Well, as much as I really want to go spend some time in Stockholm and London with the kids, beach vacations are the best right now.
Beach?
Yeah, so we'll probably
What's the question?
What?
You live in California. What's the question?
Yeah, but come on, we live in Northern California. It's cold as hell here. The beaches suck. So Southern California is good. We should probably go to Hawaii though and swim with turtles and stuff like that. That would probably be the ideal vacation. Now, I like to imagine that we can still take culture vacations and have fun, which is why I have my heart set on London and Stockholm. But to be honest, with 2 young kids, beach vacation is the way to go.
Okay.
All right.
Admirable. Very practical answer.
And Joel wants to go to Tibet.
I want to go to Tibet. Yes.
Yeah.
We've already
Ring one of those big bells.
Move on. This is
okay.
This is the one. You're going to finish this off here.
This is the last question.
This is the last question. Holy shit! What is this? No, we already answered that. All right.
Just choose a good one.
I'm gonna not bother with the roll.
Yeah,
there you go. Just pick a good one.
I love the salt thing, but let's move on. Let's just pick a good question.
What neurosis do you have to admit?
You face that. What neurosis do we have?
What neurosis do you have that you'd like to admit, or not like to admit?
All of them.
Well, describe in detail.
You're rife with neuroses.
The rest of it is describe in detail. Take your time.
Is neurosis a term of art?
Neurosis a term of art?
Yeah. I'm just saying, do I need is there a technical definition I'm supposed to be following here?
No. You could
interpret the question as you see fit.
Any kind of compulsion that you have.
No, I'm just anxious all the time.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
Why? What is it that makes you anxious?
We're gonna go deep.
I second that, by the way. That was absolutely what I was going to say. Because we're trying to shepherd kids in a very difficult place at a very difficult time. And it is on my mind all the time.
Are you afraid of shepherding kids?
No, I embrace it 23 hours a day.
No, I'm kind of wondering. I worked through this myself. I already started dealing with children as not children. Not because I don't trust their judgment. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't treat them as adults that I lean on. I treat them as I value their opinion, and I will work towards a solution evolving. Their opinion counts. You know what I mean?
Yes, to be honest, I think we listen to our children excessively, but yes, we
do, undoubtedly.
We do subscribe by that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I think the level of detail in our lives is outrageous, and between trying to run a business, live in a really difficult part of the country,
yep.
I feel like my head is about to spin off all the time. That's it.
Yeah, me too. I agree. I'm kind of at that place too. Too many moving parts to watch.
The fact that we can sit here for 2 hours and do this is like a very unusual thing for us to peel ourselves away from whatever nightly stuff that we do. This is hugely a break for us.
This is
wonderful.
Right.
What a great time this has been.
Yeah, this is great, but this is the anomaly, not the norm.
Yes.
We don't have our evenings typically.
No, don't get me wrong. I have to organize this around any number of things, including
So
it's not
so Shri
being upstairs. You know what I mean?
So Shri, let's wrap it up. Let's
This is no. Wait a minute. Before we go, forgive me. Before we go,
Shri, you're a little drunk, aren't you?
Not yet.
I think you are. I think you're a little drunk. I don't think you are.
Perhaps, but
he's like the Ed McMahon. He's.
I think it's cute. I think it's awesome.
You know, I feel like I have a little.
Go on.
Okay.
No, we are three sets of parents having a conversation.
Yes.
I think it's important that
be drunk.
Idea of each other's style. I'd love to hear your style. You're both in the room. I'd love to hear your style, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I think I'm doing it.
Sounds like we subscribe to very similar ideas.
What I've learned is that actually Owen looks really good in Gap clothes, and Zozo looks really good in Target clothes, and I don't know what the difference is, but for some reason there's a dividing line, and Gap is horrible on Zozo, but Target is perfect. We have all the boy clothes at Target, but
you're spending more money on the boys' fashion than the girls' fashion?
I have to say, in our household, let's see, Owen
is a fashionista.
Owen is a total fashionista. He is smart and like the most beautiful kid and makes everything easy and is lovable. And Zozo is fierce and strong and endlessly creative and smart as hell and flips you out with her smartness. And that's where their strengths divide.
I will tell you this. I was so totally enamored by your daughter. Her power, her strength, I was possessed. I Oh my God! As much as I was having most of my conversation with the boy, I'd rather have it with the girl because she wanted to be part of the conversation, and in the nicest way, she got in it, and I loved that. I loved her strength. My boys are very bright, but they still haven't figured out how to successfully negotiate.
Our kids know how to talk to adults, to their credit.
And there's a lot of kids around here. We're full of very precocious kids here in Northern California, in a good way, but kind of off the charts.
But like socially precocious, not intellectually precocious,
right.
But socially.
But mine are almost intellectually elitist with adults, and that I gotta break them back. I gotta give them a little humility, you know.
Well, here's actually something. Can I comment on living in California?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we came from a place where being smart was valuable because not everyone was smart.
Yeah.
Everyone is smart as hell where we live.
Yeah.
Smart is not a commodity anymore.
Yeah.
Smart is the price of entry. And so some of that elitism just doesn't exist in the same way because it's like it's a foregone conclusion, It's really interesting. Plus, there's definitely a little bit of a West Coast like false casualness and like, hey dude kind of thing too. So you won't see some of that kind. The rules of engagement are really coded because there's a veneer of casualness on everything. So you just won't get that kind of intellectual elitism. Anyway, whatever. Okay.
No. So what? Assuming intelligence is the baseline.
Yes.
What ups the curve? Where are you getting to the high end of the bell curve now? In other words, what is the other factor? Is it ethereal, or are we talking about something different?
I think it's social skills, honestly.
Social skills.
Yeah.
Able to walk up to somebody and go, "Hey, you got a booger in your nose. Let me take care of it for you."
Some would call that a skill.
Trust me, I've done it. It's quite.
People don't like it, do they?
I've had dates because of that.
Yeah, well, people are like, "Thank you so much. I'm really glad that you've saved me for the rest of my day, and now I never want to speak to you again."
And now we'll never speak of this again.
Anyway, so I just think culturally.
Take care of a brother. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. I really am going to step away and put these kids to good. Gentlemen, it was so nice to see you. Cameron, so nice to chat with you. Sri.
You too.
All right. Cheers, fellas. Love you. Good night.
Wait, before you go.
Bye.
Okay.
Sheree.
No.
It's.
It was the ear piercing thing.
What, ear piercing?
Yeah, it was Debbie Glass that pierced my ear, and I wanted.
Oh no way! She pierced one of my ears too.
Yeah, it was in my room at the Teak House, and it was her and Doug Dominic that pierced my ear.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
When they pierced my ear, they pierced my left ear. That was when I got my other one done.
Yeah, it was my left.
Cigarette butt behind the end of it to catch it. So kind of that was the back end, and they stuck through to the cigarette butt on the other end because we were clean and classy in that way.
Did yours blow up like a balloon afterwards?
No, actually, it went totally fine. Every couple of years, I still see if I can stick earrings through my holes, and 2 of them are still open.
Well, unfortunately, about a week, just about when school started, when I was trying to, figure out who the freshmen were and all that sort of thing, I instead was at a clinic having the pus being seeped out of my very well inflated lobe of my right ear, and I never got mad because I knew that was pretty much going to happen. The biochemist in me went, "Oh, this is not going to go well."
Yeah, and Sheree, as a lawyer, we have a phrase for that. It's called assumption of the risk.
Yeah.
You can't do something if you manifested your intent to assume the risk. And I believe you would have done that there.
I assumed the risk implicitly, and I let it. Anyway, it's about time we had to say goodbye.
It absolutely is. Again, thank you so much for inviting me. It has been great to talk to both of you. Cheers across time and space.
You know what? Can I make an offer? I think we should do this again, almost individually.
What?
I think that Joel, we got a lot of both of you, and a lot of good conversation, but less of you.
No worries.
No. I think we're good. It was incredible to see both. I mean,
I think so too. But
so,
well, look,
you know,
it's what happens when you're a couple. You would have gotten a different me if Debbie weren't here, and you would have gotten a different Debbie if I weren't here. It's totally the way it works out. We are one person socially. We are different people separately. But what we really need to do is to come out to Chicago.
You do.
And hang out. We love hanging out.
If you organize it, I will be there, and I'll make sure that we really just hang out and enjoy ourselves.
We would be fools.
And you must meet my wife. You must meet my wife.
Would love to. Love to meet everybody. All right. And with that, happy Sunday night. Thanks for having us. We had a wonderful time. All right.
Talk to you later.
Stay online for a second.